The Honourable Ms Dale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise this evening, to speak on the MPI around COVID-19. And I want to begin my contribution this afternoon by reflecting on the hardship of many small businesses across our local communities. And I know during the last couple of weeks I've been contacted by numerous businesses who've been extremely disappointed about the nature of the grants program that was rolled out by the state government. I will acknowledge that many received the $2,500 grant relatively quickly, and we're very appreciative of that, and I thank the government for that. But there has been some ongoing issues around the $15,000 grant and the criteria for that, and some businesses being considered to be able to be paid that grant and others not, and some have missed out altogether, others have received the $4,000. So it is an issue. There are some businesses that really are suffering at the moment, and there shouldn't be inequities around that funding and that grant program, and it was put as a non-competitive grants program, and so it shouldn't have been treated as such. And so those businesses that we have been contacted by, we've certainly on their behalf written to the Premier, and during this morning's question time we also took the opportunity to put a number of those cases on the record, and it's pleasing to see that the government and the Premier has acknowledged that and agreed to review the administration of that program and perhaps look at extending the availability of more grants to those businesses, and I think that will be very well received by the business community, and I would strongly encourage him to make that happen. I wanted just to also mention the good work of our local chambers of commerce and industry around the state, and the good work that they have been doing, working with local businesses, providing them with information and acting as a conduit between a number of the initiatives being promoted by government, but also around the regulations around safe reopening and public health restrictions and the things that they need to have in place to reopen their businesses safely. So I want to thank our local chambers for that. And I believe that our business enterprise centres have been doing some of that work as well, and I thank them for that. There is a real need for us to support our local businesses, to buy local. It's absolutely essential, and they will need our ongoing support. Those businesses in the hospitality and tourism industries are going to be feeling things for a lot longer than what other small businesses will, and so they will need extended support also. And that may be through the provision of a transitional package, and we've certainly talked about the importance of the JobKeeper payment being extended across those industry sectors. I want to turn now to my colleague and I, Shane Broad's call for a Northwest recovery package, which we believe is absolutely essential, that there is a need for a dedicated recovery package for the northwest and west coasts of Tasmania. We were hit harder than other regions of the state, and as has been said, perhaps we haven't benefited as much, some communities along the northwest coast and west coast, from the economic prosperity that's been experienced in other parts of the state in recent times. And we do also have a reliance on exports, and many of our traditional industries will be impacted around changes in global trade. So there is absolutely a need for that. We've identified a number of key projects that, right along we've supported, and a number of those were supported by both state and federal Labor in the lead up to recent elections, and they include the Cradle Mountain redevelopment, Coastal Pathway, investment in the Burnie Port. We also support investment in the next iconic walk on the west coast and the tremendous benefit that will bring to that region in growing tourism on the west coast. And these are projects that we think could be brought forward. They have stalled under the government. They've been talked about for a long while. There's obviously the example of the Coastal Pathway between Burnie and Wynyard that's just been talked about, I think, for about 10 years. And feedback that we've had from people in recent weeks is they want to see this project happen. And it is a project that could be brought forward and that could bring great community benefit, not only through stimulating economic development activities, but also through improving recreational activities and the health and well-being of our communities, and of course the development of another tremendous tourism asset for our region. We also want to see, alongside investment in infrastructure, investment in local key industries such as advanced manufacturing, forestry, horticulture, tourism, and the list goes on. These are all key sectors of our economy in the Northwest, and it's absolutely critical that the government supports and works with those industries. There are a number of opportunities that will be presented to those industries. No doubt they'll face challenges, but there'll also be opportunities that we need to embrace. The government needs to be standing by and supporting those industries as we transition. Manufacturing is a wonderful example of that. We have world-class manufacturers right across our region, and in fact our region was built on the back of manufacturing. And we all know the stories of how those businesses have adapted the products that they make around economic shocks in the past. And so I'm sure that they're up to the challenge of adapting to what needs to happen now, and they should be encouraged to do so and supported to do so. Whether that means that they are supported through co-investment grants around updating the technologies that they use, which will support R&D and product development and accessing new markets. It's absolutely essential that each of these opportunities are identified and that the government works side by side with those industries to ensure that they continue to prosper and grow, and that they do indeed leverage private investment, which is just so important. So I would finish my contribution, Madam Speaker, by reiterating the importance of a dedicated recovery package for the Northwest. We were hit a lot harder. We're in an extended period of lockdown, and of course it's been a dreadfully difficult time for all members of our community, having lost loved and respected members of our communities, having our small businesses suffer tremendously, and of course for our health professionals. And I really want to see as a priority coming out of this investment in regional health services and a value of regional healthcare professionals. Thanks, Madam Speaker.